I want to briefly discuss the strengths of acids and bases and how it affects the direction a reaction goes. So let's start with something that you're really familiar with, HCl. We know that it's a strong acid, and when we say it's a strong acid, we actually mean, we define that as the amount it dissociates in water. So the ions dissociate, the amount of the ions dissociate in water determines the strength, because remember, strength is relative to pH. So if pH is lower, we have a higher concentration of acid. So amount dissociates in water. And if it's strong, the amount it dissociates is high. Oh, that's messy. Is high. Okay. And we've also talked about conjugate acids and bases. Conjugate acids and bases. And that just means what it's paired up with. So what does HCl become? And bases. So for this particular reaction, this is my acid, and water is acting as my base. It's accepting a proton. Now I come over here, and H3O plus is my acid, so my weak base has become an acid, and Cl minus is now my base. So HCl is a strong acid, and we've talked about this, and there's some videos out there that show the types of reactions between strong acids and water and strong bases in water. And it turns out that its conjugate base is a weak base. And so if it's a weak base, meaning because it completely dissociates, it doesn't really want to accept a proton. So this is interesting because what this lets us do is determine what direction a reaction is favored. So now remember, I started writing arrows like this. Bunk, bunk, right? And this says that while we say completely dissociates, so that's slightly a lie, it mostly dissociates. So there will be a small amount of our HCl left, but it's going to tend to go in this direction because of the amount of dissociation involved in from our acid, our strong acid. So if this dissociates easily, then the reaction is favored to the right. And the way your book words it is that because H3O plus is a weaker acid than HCl, the reaction is favored in that direction. So they're saying exactly what I've done with this arrow here. This guy dissociates easier, so the reaction is going to go this way in the direction of our weaker acid. That's all that means.